Chris Watts looked like the kind of guy nobody ever worried about. He was quiet, polite, soft-spoken, the dude who smiled awkwardly and didn't cause drama. He lived in Frederick, Colorado, a calm suburban place where people waved at each other, kids played in the street, and nothing ever really went down. Chris had a wife, Shannon Watts, who was pregnant, and two little girls, Bella and Celeste. From the outside, it looked like a picture-perfect American family. Facebook posts, smiling photos, vacations, birthday parties, all that stuff. If you scrolled through Shannon's page, it looked like a life straight out of a family ad. But behind that screen, things were already falling apart. Shannon was strong-willed, outgoing, and very active on social media. She worked in direct sales and shared a lot of her life online. Chris was the opposite. He barely talked, barely posted, and mostly followed along. Friends later said he was passive, the type who avoided conflict at all costs. He didn't argue, didn't push back, didn't explode. Instead, he bottled everything up. That's important because what he didn't say slowly turned into something dark. By 2018, the marriage was cracking. Money problems, stress, control issues, emotional distance, all of it piling up. Chris felt trapped. He later said he felt like he had no voice in his own life. Instead of facing the problems like a normal person, he chose the most dangerous escape possible. Around this time, Chris started an affair with a co-worker named Nicole Kessinger. She made him feel free, desired, like he could start over. With her, he wasn't a husband or a dad. He was just a guy with options. That fantasy became addictive. Chris didn't just want an affair. He wanted a clean slate. No wife, no kids, no responsibilities. And instead of walking away, divorcing, or being honest, he started thinking about the unthinkable. The scariest part is how calm and normal he still seemed. Nobody saw rage. Nobody saw warning signs. That's why this case shook people so hard. Evil didn't look loud here. It looked quiet. On the night of August 12, 2018, Shannon came home from a business trip around 2 a.m. A friend dropped her off. She was tired, pregnant, and emotionally stressed. According to Chris, they talked. They argued. She confronted him about the affair. And sometime after that, in their bedroom, Chris killed her. The exact details changed every time he told the story, which is classic lying behavior. First, he claimed she killed the kids, and he snapped. Later, he admitted he killed everyone. The truth came out slowly, piece by piece. After killing Shannon, Chris killed his 2 daughters. Bella was 4, Celeste was 3. The details are disturbing, especially what happened to Bella, who was aware enough to ask questions. He later admitted she fought back. That alone destroyed the image people had of him forever. This wasn't a moment of blind rage. This was calculated, cruel, and intentional. Then came the part that made people physically sick. Chris loaded his wife's body and his daughters into his truck before sunrise. Neighbors' security cameras caught him backing the truck into the driveway, acting calm, methodical. No panic, no hesitation. He drove to his work site, an oil field owned by Anadarko Petroleum. There, he buried Shannon in a shallow grave and disposed of the girls in oil tanks. Yes, oil tanks. The fact that a father could do that to his own children is something people still struggle to understand. After that, Chris went on with his day like nothing happened. He texted coworkers. He answered messages. He acted normal. He thought he was smart enough to pull it off. That confidence is another key psychological red flag. He believed his nice guy image would protect him. But the plan started falling apart almost immediately. Shannon's friend, Nicole Atkinson, realized something was wrong when Shannon stopped answering her phone. This friend didn't wait. She drove to the house, called the police, and refused to leave. That decision mattered. If she hadn't acted so fast, Chris might have had more time to cover things up. Police arrived and did a welfare check. Chris showed up acting calm, maybe too calm. He led officers inside. He talked. He smiled awkwardly. He played the worried husband role, but something felt off. The house was quiet. Too quiet. The kids' shoes were still there. Shannon's purse was still there. Her phone was still there. Pregnant women don't just disappear without their stuff. Then came the body cam footage. This is where the case really blew up. America watched Chris Watts on camera, standing in his living room, smiling, scratching his head, talking about missing his kids. People noticed it instantly. His body language didn't match his words. No tears, no shaking, no urgency. He looked annoyed more than scared. That footage became a masterclass in behavioral analysis. Chris went on TV the same day. He stood outside his house and begged for his family to come home. He smiled while doing it. That smile haunted people. It wasn't relief. It wasn't hope. It was wrong. The internet tore it apart within hours. Strangers could tell something was seriously off. Police didn't take long to focus on him. The timeline didn't add up. His story kept changing. Then they brought him in for questioning and did something very smart. They used a polygraph test and told him he failed. Whether the test was accurate or not didn't matter. His reaction did. He broke. At first, he tried to blame Shannon. He claimed she killed the kids, and he killed her in rage. That lie lasted maybe minutes. Investigators pushed back calmly. Strategically, they didn't yell. They let him talk. And slowly, the real story came out. He confessed to killing all three. Chris was arrested and charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder, including the murder of an unborn child. Facing overwhelming evidence, he took a plea deal to avoid the death penalty. In November 2018, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Even after conviction, the story didn't end. Chris later gave more interviews from prison, revealing chilling details. He admitted he had thought about killing his family weeks before it happened. He admitted he felt relieved after doing it. That admission scared people more than anything else. No remorse in the moment, just relief. Psychologists analyzed him endlessly. Was he a narcissist, a covert psychopath, a man with extreme emotional suppression? The truth is probably a mix. He wasn't loud or violent his whole life. He was compliant, passive, emotionally empty. When pressure built, instead of exploding outward, it collapsed inward and turned deadly. The Chris Watts case forced people to question a dangerous myth that monsters look like monsters. Sometimes they look like dads. Sometimes they mow the lawn, go to work, and smile on camera. That's why this case still hits so hard. It shattered the idea that you can always tell. Shaynan and her daughters became symbols of a truth nobody likes to face, that ignoring emotional breakdowns, avoiding conflict, and living fake lives for appearances can end in tragedy. This wasn't about money or affairs alone. It was about someone who refused to be honest with himself or anyone else. Today, Chris Watts sits in prison, isolated, stripped of the normal life he thought he could erase and replace. The woman he wanted to be with cut contact. The fantasy died fast. All that's left is reality, concrete walls, and the weight of what he did. And that's the part people don't forget. Not just the crime, but how ordinary it all looked before it happened. The silence, the smiles, the lie of the perfect dad,